Hi, I'm Doreen McCafferty from Holistic Wellness from Within. I'm so happy again to be part of the HTM Online Collective, and I am really excited to share with you today another video. Please note I am using, I don't know what this camera's doing, but it keeps making my glasses kind of disappear from time to time, but I do need them there because I'm going to need them when I need to read. But today I'm really happy to talk to you about the microbiome and mineral balancing because I find this to be one of the key components to healing is healing the microbiome. Without a healthy microbiome, we can't assimilate all the minerals we're eating when we eat well, even when we're eating good food, and you can't assimilate the nutrients we're asking you to take. We give you these supplements, these vitamins, these minerals, and if your body's not able to process them, then you're not able to get the full benefit of a mineral balancing program. So, addressing the microbiome is one thing that I personally feel has been neglected by many of the mineral balancing programs. I know because when I first started working with mineral balancing, I wasn't really taught to address anything with the microbiome except this one very specific diet. And that was supposed to fix everything for everyone, and it didn't always work. So this really took me into rabbit holes, took me back to the Czech Institute where I had been originally, certified to really dig into what do we need to do to really fix the microbiome. What if mineral balancing alone doesn't always do that? What do we do then? So, what I want to do today, and if you want to grab a pen and paper and take notes, feel free to do so. But I'm going to jump right over here to my website and share with you. Uh, Let me get off of there. And I'm going to share with you an eating plan and go over some of this very specific information that is very important to understand when we are designing programs. So again, bear with me for just a moment. There it is. It keeps disappearing. Okay, so you can see here that this is actually my website. On my website right here, underneath resources, I have a seasonal eating plan. Now, different practitioners may be using different eating plans. I have been involved and trained in so many different eating plans that it makes my head spin sometimes. So here's what I want to first of all do. You're looking right here on my page at this seasonal eating plan, which is pretty much what I recommend to get people started on the right eating plan and clean up the microbiome. But what I want to just do is just jump over right here, as you can see on this page, where it says what to eat, the diet dilemma. I want to jump over to that article and look at this article with you. On this article, I talk about, as you can see here, a general eating plan, and we're going to go over that in a moment. I don't need to get into all this because you can certainly go to my website and read this, but I talk about different diets. I talk about things like the carnivore diet. I've had clients go on the carnivore diet, and I had one client in particular who really did a lot of healing with the liver. The liver enzymes were really bad, and this seems to be what fixed her liver. However, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. And I wouldn't recommend it either. Well, we'll go over that in a minute. I want to get into that more. But the carnivore diet does have some benefits, and you can actually read about PubMed and various studies on these diets when you go to read about them here. I'm not going to go over what they all entail, but again, there are some benefits to this. And then you'll see I have here the low oxalate diet. Now, listen, some people who have kidney stones do really well on a low oxalate diet. However, my daughter is one of those people with kidney stones. She's recently going through some testing to find out, because her kidney stones are reoccurring, to find out what type of kidney stones they are, because it isn't always due to oxalates. So you might need to check that out. But for some people, a low oxalate diet is very helpful for things like kidney stones, and they have other health issues as well they can heal, that diet can heal. A keto diet can be very good for somebody trying to lose weight, for somebody trying to control, as you can see, diabetes. It can be very good and very helpful as well. Of course, it has to be a clean keto diet, and I won't get into all that, but there is a right way to do that if that's a diet you decide to go on. Now, I'm not really keen on using vegetarian and vegan diets because I really believe that we do need healthy animal protein in our diet and that we are not getting the right balance of amino acids without those animal proteins. I believe it's the way our ancestors ate, and that we really need to be eating animal protein. But anyway, I get into that a little bit here. And then I talk right here about the seasonal eating plan, which we're going to go over in a moment. And then I'm going to go over some other information with you as well. But what I really want to bring out is that any of these diets that are really what I call more extreme, more restrictive, are typically, even if they are going to help heal the gut, and they can help with certain issues, and they may be something that you may need to use or implement, they should only be used, I believe, for short term use. I don't believe we should be on carnivore diets or low oxalate diets or keto diets or any of these kind of diets that, again, are extreme for long periods of time, because the benefits that you experience while you're on that diet, eventually there are deficits. There are things in those diets that are lacking. Maybe you're not getting enough of something, or you know, need more of this or that, and it's missing from the diet, and eventually the benefits that you reap, they're going to create other issues. So you're kind of trading off issues. So you may fix one thing in the interim and create another problem in the long term. So I would recommend these diets at times for certain issues that a person may have, and they can certainly be helpful. So generally speaking, we're not going to get into all that on this video because I really want to stick to what I want to get into here in a moment. We're going to talk more about this seasonal eating plan. Now, the seasonal eating plan is extremely healthy because what it is really asking you to do is to vary the nutrients that you're getting in your diet. Because typically we eat, you know, we're creatures of habit, and we tend to be eating the same things all the time. And many times when we do that, we're getting the same minerals over and over and over, and we're simply not getting enough nutrients into our body and enough variety of nutrients into the body. Now, also, when we eat seasonally, we are eating things, hopefully, if you're shopping locally, which is what you can do when you're eating seasonally, you are eating things that are fresher, that are more nutrient dense. Because, you know, in this day and age, we have access to anything. We have access to foods that have been shipped from far away, that have been on trucks for long periods of time. And certainly some of those foods may have some nutritional benefits to them, but they lose their density and the amount of minerals that are in those foods over time. Just like many times I have people tell me, well, I don't want to take supplements because I'm getting all my nutrients from foods. And then I have to go back, we have to go back and look at the fact that even just a few years ago now, but you know, let's just say 50 years for the sake of time, whatever. Food was way more nutritionally dense back then than it is now, just from soil depletion. And even if you're eating organic and you're eating food that is being raised well, there has been soil depletion that has decreased the amount of nutrients in soil, and so therefore in our food. So we are not getting as much nutrients from our food as we used to get. So that's very important, and that is a real big reason that we need supplements to supplement the nutrients that we're missing in our depleted earth and, you know, on our depleted soils. So anyway, also buying again locally, you are going to get more nutritionally dense food. It's going to be fresher. It's not going to have sat on trucks for long periods of time. I buy almost all my foods, especially starting now. Starting May, it gets really cool because I go to a local farmer's market every Sunday and I buy tons of local food there. Now, of course, I have to fill in some of the food during the time of the season when that food is not seasonally available. And I do, I have to do that. But you do want to try to eat as much with the seasons as you can. And that's why I actually have a seasonal produce guide here that you can just see. Now, this is a very simple view of what you can eat in winter, spring, summer, and fall. It varies somewhat by where you live, but that's a really easy way to look at, how you can eat for the season. And once you learn to do that, it's super cool because I like the fact that, I just recently switched up into the spring season foods, which I really like. I love summer. The fall foods become like the comfort foods, your soups, your stews, your heavier foods, so to speak. Your sweet potatoes and root vegetables. So it's really cool to be able to do that and to vary the nutrients you are getting in food. And also, let me just say that I believe that a part of the reason we have so much trouble with oxalates is that we weren't meant to eat some of these foods year round. Like a food like spinach that is high in oxalates. And now you have people making spinach smoothies where they're using a ton of spinach to begin with to make a smoothie. And they're eating something like that year round. They're going to get way more oxalates than our ancestors used to get because they didn't eat like that. They ate with the seasons because they had to eat what was available to them. So I think we need to go back to thinking of eating that way. It is healthier for our bodies, it's healthier for our microbiome. And so that's what we're going to get into in a minute here. So when you go through the information I have shared here, and I share this with my clients, it is very general. It is not getting into too many specific things that people have to do. It just gives us general information of how to eat. Now, then we get into other issues. We get into people who may not be able to eat gluten. I have many people who can't eat gluten. I personally believe that we can't eat gluten these days because of the glyphosate. It has to do with the glyphosate in the food, and glyphosate is primarily in grains, although it is now also being found almost everywhere in our environment. So that can be a real problem. And that glyphosate is really what has, I've noticed, increased the dysbiosis in our guts. It has really wreaked havoc because what glyphosate does is it gets into the body through food, through water, through air, through our clothes. It's in everything. And in case you're wondering what even glyphosate is, it is a byproduct of Roundup. And that byproduct of Roundup is, a pesticide. It's very, very it's horrible. It's a horrible, it has horrible side effects. So it gets into our body and it completely disrupts the microbiome. It just completely destroys it. And one of the biggest ways it destroys the microbiome is it replaces glycine in the body. And then when the glycine is replaced with glyphosate, it creates havoc in the body. And so, one of the very first things I do, and I will be showing this to you on here as we go through, so bear with me for one moment. Let me move my cursor here. One of the things that I recommend to my clients is I'm going to go to my resource page and I'm going to share that with you. So I'm on my resource page here. And so one of the things I really use for gut healing, besides, like, again, first of all, I clean up their diet. I want them to go on a seasonal eating plan. I want them to go over all of that. But what happens? Like, that's the first area of defense. I don't want to drop a nuclear bomb on somebody. I want to slowly see what we can heal. Looking at what they're currently eating again, because if you come in and you're eating all fast foods, you got a lot of cleanup to do, right? But if you come in and you're already eating fairly healthy and you're still having issues, then your starting point may be different than a client who comes in eating fast food and other junk foods, really bad foods. So I am going to work with that client individually. And your diet, your eating plan may need to have more work or less work, to adjust it than someone else's. But once I find out, especially all of us, I believe I all believe that we all have some leaky gut. All of us do. So I want to get that glyphosate out of the body. And one of the ways I do it is simply through this supplement right here called glycine. So I have recommendations that I give to my clients for taking this glycine right here. And when you take this glycine, you take it in for a little while in higher amounts than what would, and I want to make sure that you're looking at this on your screen. Yes, you are. Perfect. You take it in a higher amount than you would normally take lysine because what it is going to do is get into the body where the glyphosate has replaced the glycine, and it's then going to push the glyphosate out. The glyphosate is going to go out through the urine, and then you go on a small maintenance amount of glycine. And that's one of the first things I do that will help people fix their gut. And I've seen miraculous improvements with people when they simply make that one change using the glycine. Now, there are other things that we can use to help heal the gut. So let's say that we go through the program, we use the glycine. That may be all you need, but let's say you need more. There are other things I can do. Now, all these tools, by the way, I choose to help a client decide which tools they need and which ones are going to work for them. All right. It's not the same for everyone, but I'm just giving you very general information of how I address gut health as well as making sure then that your body is assimilating your supplements, your food, and everything so that you get the most that you can from a mineral balancing program. So I am going to take you to another website where you can see the supplements, Valence Supplements. They have a great supplement, and I'm experimenting with all of this because these are our newer supplements. And in fact, when I first went to buy this particular supplement, it was out of stock. It is now back in stock and it is called Gut Busters. So, this is one of the things that I could recommend to a client to, again, and you can even say it says just released up here, to again give them digestive microbiome support. And so this is really important too, because maybe just the addition of the gut buster to their program on top of their digestive aid, which I use, and well, we'll get to that in a minute, but on top of the digestive aid, which is part of everyone's program, they have a digestive aid, then maybe we're going to add the gut buster. And again, you could go through and read all this information, but this is a really great option to helping people heal the microbiome. Now, let me go back here, and you can see as well that there are right here, let me find it. The BioFlow Plus right here is the digestive aid from Valence. If somebody is using Endemit supplements, they would be taking GB3. So you got some choices on your digestive enzymes, and then we have the gut buster that we can also use. So that's another tool. There needs to be a lot of tools in the toolbox, I'm telling you, to take care of all these gut issues that we're seeing. And, different things work differently for different people. So let me again get this out of my way right here. I want to go back to this page, and you'll notice this Just Thrive link. Now, when I go to the Just Thrive link, This is where I often will sometimes recommend the vitamin D with the K2 to people, and that is something very important. But also right here, I'm going to show you um okay, so it's yes, I there is another product that you could use. It is actually pricier than the Gut Buster. So the Gut Buster is very, very reasonable. But also because I have affiliate account with the with Just Thrive, you can get a discount on this. So when you go to the Just Thrive right here, they have IG support as well. I had a client use this when she had colitis, and this helped tremendously. So this could be a product that would work for you as well. Now, please understand that when I go to help you come up with your program, I'm going to first of all start you off in the mineral balancing program with a seasonal eating plan. We're only going to add these extra things if they're needed. My approach is always that less is better. I don't necessarily want to go in and again just blow everything up. I want to do things slowly. I want to let you spend the least money that you have to get well. I'm not trying to, give you a program that's completely overwhelming. I'm just showing you now what some of the options are that I have to offer clients. So this would be one. Now, the other thing that I occasionally use is a probiotic, and I actually never been a big fan of probiotics. So let me switch out of here because of the fact that most probiotics get eaten up in the gut. And so, they don't ever make it to the gut. I'm sorry, they get eaten up in the stomach. Most of them are not alive anyway when you by the time you get them. And think about this, if you buy a probiotic that has to be refrigerated, what do you think happens to it when you take it and you put it into a warm body? You kill the probiotic. And then the probiotic goes down into the stomach acid and further gets destroyed. And I just learned that probiotics are really not the way to go for the most part. The other problem I have with probiotics is they decide out of all the different bacterias which ones they're going to put into their probiotic. And who knows? Do you know which actual strains of bacteria you need? Because we don't. We're simply guessing. And all these companies that sell really expensive probiotics are guessing at what they need to put into their body. Which strains do you need? And you may actually spend a lot of money on a strains of probiotics that are not the best for you. So, with that being said, this probiotic is the one I choose because of the fact that you can see right here, it is spore based. Okay. This spore based probiotic has been tested to get into the gut and actually interact with your microbiome. That means that it is going to do whatever your microbiome needs, and it's going to start to repair your microbiome. And it may do that differently than it does when I take it and it interacts with my microbiome because it is reading what's in the microbiome, what your individual microbiome needs, and then using or interacting in a way to repair and restore health to your microbiome. Now, I use this probiotic and I don't use it all the time. I like again, just like I was mentioning not staying on any one diet, well, not staying on any extreme diet for one time. I I cycle off and on as some of these things. I don't believe that you need to take it year round. Now, I'm sure that the company's going to tell you differently, but we need to take it to to do clean up the microbiome and then probably cycle back on it in a few months because we know that we're constantly our microbiome's constantly being attacked by various bacteria, whatever. So anyway, this is a really great probiotic. They also make a prebiotic. So, I always start people on the probiotic. That may be, again, all someone needs. And then if someone becomes interested in, and my screen's not moving for me here, so give me a moment. There it goes. In looking at the prebiotic. They could take the prebiotic as well. And then occasionally, somebody who has a whole lot of gut problems may actually need the whole gamut. Well, I really don't ever recommend the whole gamut because I usually some of this stuff isn't needed, but they might need the probiotic, the prebiotic, and the ultimate IG. So they don't really need all of it. I don't think they need all of it. The K27 I've already recommended in their program to begin with. But anyway, I customize what that person needs, and you can get just the pro and prebiotic together. So you can see, oh, the prebiotic is coming up right here. So you could get just these two together. And I have taken both of those before. But again, they're not something you have to take forever. So, yeah, they're expensive because they really work. But you do not have to take them all together. And there's simply a tool in my toolbox. I do not have to use them very often. So I wanted to share that with you because there are tools that we can use to clean up the microbiome. And I have tools that I use with clients. I figure out based on their symptoms, based on how long they've had the symptoms, based on how well they tolerate supplements, what thing I think will be the gentlest and the easiest thing for them to use. And I'm going to stop this share for them to use so that they can get better. And I say this because, again, we're all so different. But what I've noticed is that I ask questions on my intake forms that you probably don't see on most intake form. And one of the ones that I added not even that long ago was, are you sensitive to supplements? I want to get to know you before I start deciding what you need. I want to get to know, what is best going to help you because listen, my gut has been a mess. And so I've went through extreme gut health protocols. And I've went through some gut health protocols that just simply were horrible and very hard on my body. So I know how to tailor things and I've learned how to do that by getting intake from my client because when I look at mineral balancing and when I've looked at any of the journey of health that I'm helping clients with, it is a journey that you are on that I'm guiding you on. It is not meant for me to come in, like a doctor with a prescription pad and give you simply something that you feel maybe is too hard or going to be too hard for you to do. It is simply me guiding you on that journey and then seeing how you do on the journey and adjusting it as we need to do so. So that's what I do. It is very, very unique from person to person. So, with that being said, the other thing I get asked a lot about when we're talking about microbiome is parasites. Okay, so I have a really different take on parasites than some people, and some clients and doctors and practitioners because there is such an attack of the idea of parasites. Like we're gonna just get it there in there and kill all the bugs in the body. We need to get rid of them. And I did that several years ago. I thought that was the way to go. And I made myself very ill for a while. Um, I tolerated it, but I was pretty, I really had reactions to the protocol I was using, and it was by a very well-known, uh, well, is by a very well-known person. I really don't wanna, like, say anything about that protocol, but it was very harsh. It was very, very harsh, and so I really backed away from all of that. I have found simpler ways to deal with parasites. Sometimes zappers work, and I found a very uh, inexpensive zapper that my clients can use. I really don't have to use it very often. So, also, what I've discovered, and I think you need to know, is that we need to stop thinking as all parasites being something that we need to kill. We need to stop thinking that all the bacteria in our gut needs to be destroyed, all the bad bacteria. We need to understand that we were meant to live in harmony with everything in our gut. Now, yeah, there are things that are in our gut that are probably there. Like I mentioned, like the glyphosate has destroyed some, and upset the balance in our gut, but we need the balance. We need a balance between the good and bad bacteria. They need to learn to live together. They need to learn to live in harmony. We are not trying to get in and wipe out all the bad bacteria because, one, it's never going to happen. And if you set out to do that, you're going to find yourself, again, you're going to make yourself very ill. That is not the point or how we heal the gut. We heal the gut by bringing a symbiotic relationship between the good and bad bacteria. The bad bacteria is no longer overpowering the good bacteria. We come into the mineral balancing program. We clean up our diet. Whatever that means to each and individual client is different for everyone. We clean up the diet. We use tools if we need them. It may be one additional supplement. It may not be any real additional supplement. We'll see. We work slowly to do so. We're not coming in like a bulldozer coming in and plowing everything over because that's not the way to create harmony. The way to create harmony is to slowly start to change the chemistry and teach our bad and good bacteria to live together. And again, just creating a microbiome where those two things coexist because you, my friend, will always have bad bacteria. And if you think you're going to wipe it all out and come out with some kind of perfectly happy microbiome with no bad bacteria in it, it is not going to happen. So we want to do this gently and in a way that then when the body is in a symbiotic relationship, the microbiome is happy, you are then assimilating nutrients you need. Because this is a really big part of getting the most out of a mineral balancing program because again, if you can't assimilate your nutrients, if you can't get the nutrients and the value and the benefits from the supplements you're taking, then you don't see the ratios and the things you need to change on your hair analysis. They're not moving and you wonder why. And yes, it can be toxicity and it can be a host of things. But as your practitioner, I'm going to help you find out what that is. And a lot of it does start in the gut. It starts with a healthy gut and a healthy microbiome. So I just want to thank you so much. I want to thank Lewis for putting this together and everyone else who's had a part in making this possible for us to have this HTM online collective. I thank all of you. I thank you for watching, and I want you to feel free to go to my website. Let's go back for just a minute. And I'm going to share. So went back to the wrong page. Let me go back to share. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to my website. Just because if this is the first video you are watching, I want you to see here that you can come to my website at any time. You can come down here to sign up for my newsletter. You can always feel free, client or not, to visit my resource page, which I kind of just took you to. I actually, just before I made this video, I went through and did a lot of updating on the resource page. And so you can always go through to the healing resource links and look at all kinds of links for different things that could help aid in your wellness journey. But most of all, you need to be on this mineral balancing program. And getting on the mineral balancing program is what I want to help you do. If you're interested in working with me, you also can visit my contact page, which is right here. You can ask for a free consultation. You could ask for a phone call. You can email me and ask me any questions you like. And again, because I know I said it before, but I love lives. I love lives because I have people here that can ask questions. I want you to see this as a live and send me any questions you have about anything I've shared. And let's get your gut healed and get you on the right mineral balancing program for your body. Again, I thank you so much for joining me, and I would love to work with you. Thanks again for listening from Holistic Wellness from Within. Have a great, happy, healthy day.